What is so interesting about this painting? After all, is it not just the American flag? Yet, it's vastly known to be extremely influential in American contemporary art and has been reproduced over and over again. Its first version was painted between 1954 and 1955 by a 24-year-old American painter, Jasper Johns. He was born in 1930 in Augusta, Georgia. He joined the military and was sent to Japan during the Korean War, and when he came back, he had a dream of the American flag. That's how he got the idea. But that doesn't explain why this painting was so impactful. Though the subject of the painting isn't that interesting, given it's an object Americans see every day, the process, the craftsmanship is compelling. The flag, or the painting of the flag, is comprised of 3 canvases mounted on plywood, covered with newsprint. Finally, a layer of encaustic or hot wax paint covers the work with red, white, and blue. Given the nature and thickness of encaustic, we can see the newspaper through the color, giving the flag a lot of texture. So the plastic elements of this painting are very interesting, but the subject is very mundane, which is not something we are used to in art. Ready-mades did introduce the mundane in the art world. We only have to think of the 1917 fountain by Marcel Duchamp, which we have made a video about. Duchamp's Dadaism did have an impact on John's art, to a point where his art would be called Neo-Dada. Jasper said that Marcel Duchamp's idea was that anything could be art by focusing the mind to think of it as art, and ultimately, he agreed with him. Both questioned art, or what makes art art. So is this painting art? Well, it's really for you to decide. Also, is this a painted flag or a painting of a flag? The nuance here can be important. Is this a flag in itself which, instead of being printed, was painted? If so, this painting becomes an object more than a painting. This could also be the painting of a flag, like in Washington crossing the Delaware, or like in Child Hassam's work. So, which is it? Johns said it was both. It's definitely not a flag waving in the wind, or held with pride by an American. It's actually pretty flat and neutral, which was exactly what Jasper Johns wanted. He chose a symbol which we often overlook, and he has done the same in other series of paintings with targets or numbers, things that we also see but never examine. Speaking of the American flag, Johns said, "Using this design took care of a great deal for me because I didn't have to design it. So I went on to similar things like the targets, things the mind already knows. That gave me room to work on other levels." The neutral, flat, and overlooked symbol of the American flag was just a pretext to paint. By representing this known icon, Johns didn't have to concentrate on the design, the layout, or the placement of colors on the painting. It somewhat freed him from these constraints. He could now focus on the brushstroke without it becoming the subject. Before Johns' flags, Pollock got famous by making his lines, his drips, the subject of his paintings. We have also made a video on Autumn Rhythm if you're interested. Before that, subjects were always the representation of an idea or an object. By painting a flag, Johns doesn't draw attention to the subject, which our mind already know and quickly ignore, but he also doesn't draw the attention to his brushstrokes, which are camouflaged by the representation of a flag. As he said, the painting of a flag is always about a flag, but it is no more about a flag than it's about a brushstroke or about a color or about the physicality of the paint. And this is why Flag by Jasper Johns is remarkable. It's a masterful balance between 2 kinds of subject, gesture and representation. We'd like to thank our supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to become a patron, check us out on patreon.com/thecanvas.